kind of period. And then the flex spell slots, Collin has 7. 2 Cyclonic Rift, 2 Domestication, 3 Rapid Hybridization. On the other side, Gabriel, 2 Domestication, 2 Bident, 2 Cyclonic Rift, 1 Rapid Hybridization, and 1 Jace the Living Guild pack. So I think Collin has more mana and better flex slots for the mirror match with the spells that he's playing.
I agree. I mean, Collin's off to a great start here. He's got a Judge's Familiar into a Tidebinder Mage. Gabriel has a Tidebinder Mage of his own. And we'll see if Collin has one of the great 3-mana spells in the matchup. Looks like the answer is no. He's going to play Rapid Hybridization right now to clear that out of the way, and there's Tidebinder Mage to tap that. So this is still a pretty good start. And now it'll be an attack here for 3. But so Rountree's not messing around.
This still requires a power card here. I mean, if Collin has no follow-up, even something like Nightveil Spectre could be really bad.
Yeah, that could be the brick wall. Speak of the devil, and it shall appear. So there is a Nightveil Spectre. So does Collin have a payoff card? Thoughts and Master of Waves are the cards that we're talking about. There's a Rift to get that out of the way and keep attacking. So it'll be an attack for 5. Wilson's going to go down to 11. He's playing a very tempo-based game.
Yeah, the way that he's playing this game, if he finds Thassa, it's awesome because he's already dealt so much damage that some unblockable shots will finish off the game. But
well, Rountree does have payoff cards in his hand. The 2 cards in his hand are Master of Waves. So he does have those payoff cards for Devotion. It's going to be a quick untap here from Rountree. See if he can find a 4th land. Hey, drew a Thassa. So not a 4th land, but just the best card in the deck.
Yeah, it'll have to do.
Yeah. So now Gabriel Wilson is on the back foot, but as we saw a little bit earlier, being on the back foot in this situation is not a good thing. See Jace in the grip. Another Nightveil Spectre. Here's 4 mana. There is Jace the Living Guild pack. That will come into play. That will bounce Thassa. Again, non-land permanent is the important part there. You're going to take a look at it. We'll do the same. See, Collin wants to confirm. Okay, it is returning another non-land permanent. -3 loyalty.
And Jace is one of the better cards that Gabriel could have in that spot. I mean, that's a big tempo play. And with the Nykthos in play, now he's at 5 Devotion. Now he can power up multiple cards.
Yep. And you see the Cyclonic Rift in his hand.
Oh, boy.
And he's got 2 copies of Nykthos in his deck. You don't see that a lot.
But this could also come up. I mean, he has so much mana, and with a Cyclonic Rift in his hand, this could be a huge turn or set of turns.
Yeah, Rift is the backbreaker. If you can get that thing off, overloaded, you can really come back in a game, especially if you have any sort of advantage.
Yeah, 24 lands and 2 Shrine of Nykthos, only 3 copies of Mutavault in Gabriel's list.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. You see him float 2. He's going to add 8. There's a Rift. Says pick them all up, please.
So Gabriel here has 1 copy of Jace in the list and 2 copies of Nykthos, and they have been really important in this game.
And it gets a little awkward now too, because what happened there is that Nykthos generated 8 blue. And so Collin said, I'm going to use Judge's Familiar's ability. And Gabriel says, I have mana floating, I'll pay for it. So that's fine.
Well, I think there may be some sort of rule where you are, if you're ever playing spells with mana floating, you have to announce that there's mana floating.
Okay.
Because I don't know if that's actually a rule, but I know that there was some issue where, you know, people would underpay for X spells hoping to bleed out a Force Spike because their opponent assumed that they were tapped out and that kind of stuff.
Either way, it's an awkward exchange there. But we'll see. It looks like maybe a judge is going to be coming into this situation.
I mean, this is really important. If this Cyclonic Rift gets countered, Gabriel goes from being way ahead to maybe being in serious trouble.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a way that the Rift can be countered at this point. I think it's either, do I get to keep my Judge's Familiar or not? Because I thought you only had 7 mana.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It looks like we're going to have a judge intervene. Both players were playing pretty quickly there, so.
Yeah.
See Andrew Shroud here doing a written recap of this match for you guys.
You know, there were spots where someone would go, with no opponent would have Force Spike in hand, tap 6 mana and go, I'll play this X spell for 4. To try to bluff the person into...
Yeah, Force Spiking it, I'll pay for it.
You know, so I think you are required to announce when you have mana floating if you're casting a spell with mana floating.
Yep. So the head judge is on his way over. You may have saw the red shirt.
I think this is pretty clearly no ill intent on Gabriel's side. He's just kind of moving fast and excited about what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, his turn's great.
Yeah, yeah.
His turn is so good. Yeah. So everything's gonna be picked up. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna back out there with Rift on the stack. So that means the Judge familiar. You see, it's not in his graveyard, so it's gonna go in his hand. There's a Tidebinder Mage.
This has been an incredible comeback.
Yeah, given how good Collin's start was and how slow Gabriel's was, his first play was on turn 3. I got to agree.
And again, Gabriel's getting paid off for the deck building decisions he made here, as unorthodox as they are. The one Jace was critical in bouncing Thassa. That was pretty close to Time Walk, given the way the board was set up. And then the 2 copies of Nykthos were important for him to do everything he did last turn. I've never really seen this kind of comeback in the mirror match. It's really rare because, you know, generating enough mana in time, and you can look on Collin's face, sort of, what even happened here?
Yeah, he thought he was good to go. I mean, his hand at one point was 2 Master of Waves, and, you know, he was in the enviable situation of, well, I mean, for the most part, if I draw a land or a spell, I'm happy.
Yep.
There are a couple spells I could draw that are poor, but by and large, I'm pretty pleased with how things are going. So here's a Thassa, there's a Raptor, kick it back.
And now Jace is at 3 loyalty again, ready to bounce something.
Master of Waves the draw. Has Nykthos still out there, generates 8 blue.
Wow, look at that hand,
Yeah,
too.
that hand's great. Down to 4. Down to 0. Devotion check is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't even know if we have 12 elementals on hand.
Yep. It's a lot. That is a lot.
You're doing okay.
And Jace is still there, you know. Could just bounce the Thassa again.
Could bounce the Raptor.
Sure.
Yeah, if he's going to bounce Thassa. I guess the Raptor doesn't even get to block well, so. This is a beating.
I've never seen this kind of swing in this matchup. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, there's the Spectre triggers. There are going to be some Biden triggers here, so long as Wilson does remember them. And it looks like he may have forgotten them. But I'm not even sure that
Who cares?
Yeah, I'm not even sure that matters.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm crushing you so bad it doesn't matter. Gabriel Wilson's going to win game number 1 here over Collin Rountree in the Mono Blue Devotion Mirror with one heck of a comeback. My goodness.
That was unbelievable. I have never seen that kind of turnaround in the blue. And normally if there's a turnaround like that, it's, you know, you're looking at turn 6 down the line where Cyclonic Rift is more realistic to set up.
Yep.
Because of the 2 copies of Nykthos, I believe that happened on turn 5. That was a turn 4 Jace and a turn 5 all of what you just saw there. That was incredible.
Quick trivia question for you guys. Rules are pretty simple. Who's got the question, me or you? I do. Okay, you got the rules then. I forgot.
Senator will ask you a question. Tweet it at SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium. One of the correct responders will be selected for a full year of Star City Games Premium at random. Don't worry about answering first, just accurately. And this contest is run at the sole discretion of StarCityGames.com. Twitch TV is in no way affiliated with giveaways on streams.
October 3rd, 4th, and the 5th, Star City Games is running a Grand Prix. Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Matthias Hunt, and myself will be doing the coverage of that tournament. The question is, what city are we going to be in for the Grand Prix? And if you can name that city, hashtag the answer, hashtag SCG Premium. Make sure you're following at SCG Live. We'll announce the winner at the conclusion of our final round, which I have a feeling is not going to take very long.
It's going to be fast. I mean, these matchups, when someone finds Thassa, the game's ending fast, one way or the other.
So we're going to bring it back to the match. We'll take a look at the sideboards. Not going to be identical like they were a little bit earlier in elimination rounds. They are a little bit different. We will start with Collins as he will be on the play here. 2 Aetherling, Domestication, and Dispel. 3 Dissolve, 3 Gainsay, and Negate. 2 Bidens, 2 Jaces.
Well, the 3 Gainsays are excellent here, as are the Domestication. I think the Dispel is also good enough to bring in. I think it does enough work. There's enough instance. And besides that, I'm not really a fan of too much else that's going on here. I don't really like the 4-mana spells that much, especially because of Gainsay. And, you know, the Domestication, the Dispel, the 3 Gainsays, probably just keep it at that.
Take a look at the other side here. Domestication, Dispel, 2 Gainsay, and Negate. 2 copies of Polymorphous Jest, 2 Rapidization, 2 Swan Songs, a Jace Architect of Thought, and some more Jaces in Memory Adept and Living Guild Pack.
So I like the Domestication, the Dispel, and the 2 Gainsays, just like I did on the other side. I think the Polymorphous just could be good in this matchup. The board's built up. This feels like the ideal matchup for me because there's not a lot of removal. Boards just kind of get built up, and it seems like it has the opportunity to, at the worst, be a fog, which is still fine in this matchup plenty of times, and could do some serious work. 2 copies of Rapid Hybridization feel important for this matchup, and I think maybe you'll see the other Living Guild pack come in here as well. Did a lot of work, and the matchup is so tempo-oriented that Planeswalker coming into play, bouncing a Thassa, bouncing a Master Waves, requiring the turn to be spent again. Then you get to untap. You have 2 more Devotion in play. And if you can answer the card again, you can generate a ton of advantage.
Game number 2 is going to be underway. Actually, I did just see a little tweet online from Tannen Grace. Said he conceded to Joe Lissette in turns of round 1 of Legacy. He said that taking the draw felt wrong, as if Joe had plenty of turns left to win, he would win. So it looks like Joe Lissette starts off 1-0 in his quest to expand his lead for the Players Championship.
And a round 1 draw is,
Yeah.
yeah, no thank you.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. So we'll be joining our Legacy tournament in progress. They're currently in round number 2. I think chances are we'll probably join it. Looks like round number 5 potentially.
I'm really excited about the Living Guild pack, and it's nice to see these matches where it's been good for Gabriel, because I think we're going to see a lot of this card over the next 15 months. And I think it's going to be another card in the list of underrated Jaces upon printing, which is literally every Jace that ever got printed.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Mind Sculptor was underrated.
Mind Sculptor was underrated.
Yeah.
Now, Mind Sculptor was printed in pretty much the most hostile waters possible for that card, because the best deck in the format was Lightning Bolt, Bloodbraid Elf, and Lightning, all of which are pretty... I mean, those cards do work against Jace in Legacy.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can understand the reaction, but all of them have been underrated. All of them.
Yeah, if you don't remember your history with Jason the Mind Sculptor, you guys are probably thinking it's crazy to say people thought this card was underrated. There is a certain edition of the Magic Show where Evan Irwin did interview people about their thoughts on Jace. This is the Pro Tour San Diego, basically the first Pro Tour that was eligible. I admit that I did not think it was that good, but I said, and I want to save myself here, I thought it was overrated.
There are a lot of quotes about that card that people would not want on their tombstones.
Yeah.
Words that they said that they would not want to be remembered as their final words.
Very few people thought it was busted. Patrick Chapin is a pretty smart guy.
Yep.
He knew that it was busted from the start, and a lot of people were just like, yeah, it's kind of overrated, it's kind of whatever. It's certainly bad for this tournament, which people were right about.
Yeah.
It was bad for that Pro Tour.
Correct.
That's about the only time it was ever bad. And it wasn't even that bad. It was merely only okay. And Chapin still found a pretty nice shell for that tournament to play it in, too.
I think the new Chases underrated would be some pretty famous last words.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
applies to all of them.
I do remember the first time when people, because when Planeswalkers were new, the original set from Lorwyn, and you see Collin's going to take a mulligan, looks a little bit frustrated here. I remember Jace Bellerin, once people figured out that card was good, it skyrocketed.
Now, I think Jace Bellerin was the one that people most correctly identified as being very powerful upon printing, because that's the one that's the easiest to quantify. It's pretty obvious to look at it and say, well, pretty much worst case scenario is divination, it contorts attacks, and some games it's going to be a lot better than that. Pretty easy to figure out.
I think it was once people figured out that +1ing was not a punishment,
Yeah.
but it was actually just like, this is what I want to do. From 3 to 5, and then you have to like try to kill it, and if you ignore it, that's horrible for you, because now you go from 5 to 4 to start drawing cards.
Yeah.
That was the thing that made it so good, is I think once people figured out that going from 3 to 5 and giving your opponent a card was not a bad play, but a perfectly reasonable one because of the implications of it having 5 loyalty, that's when the card became completely absurd.
And I don't mind the initial Planeswalkers being underrated because they were new, and it's sort of
It's a hard
hard.
card to judge.
You got to play some games before you
Of
figure it out.
course.
But all the
The
other
only one that was like obviously good was Garrick. It was like, oh, I get to make an elephant, an overrun, and untap lands and use them again in a green deck. Like that one was pretty easy. The rest were really hard.
So the worst case scenario, it's like Call of the Herd, and sometimes it's pretty easy to get behind.
Yeah. We're underway. Cloud from Raptors for each player. Rountree draws Domestication. That's the second land. There's Judge Familiar. Going to evolve the Raptor, get in for 1. Wilson's going to go down to 19. Wilson will draw. Nykthos.
Uh-oh.
We've seen this before. There's Tidebinder Mage. We'll evolve there. Bash for 1. It's 19 all.
Uh-oh.
SPaghettiOs?
We've seen this before.
Not SpaghettiOs. Those are gross.
They are gross.
They're not good.
They are definitely gross.
In for 3. Wilson going to go down to 16. Take a draw. There's a third land. This is a Thassa. That is an attack for 1. Doesn't want to attack with the Tidebinder Mage because he wants to keep that devotion count high.
Now, is this the type of game where Collin may be able to tempo out a Thassa? Not easy to do.
It's possible.
But he does have the kind of opening.
What's this going to be?
Oh.
Domestication. Well, that'll change some things. Here's some beatdowns in for 5. Wilson down to 11. Devotion very high for Collin as Gabriel untaps his 1/2 Cloud from Rountree. You see the Nykthos. It's time to scry with a Thassa.
Oh, and Gabriel with the Cyclonic Rift in his hand. We may be seeing a replay of last round setup, the last game.
He's got some setup to do, though.
Oh, yeah. He's far away.
And there's the Mage.
But now he has a 2/3 Cloud from Raptor. That's a
Plays
very good defender right
now.
now.
That plays D. Thassa's not on yet. I think you have to pump the brakes a little bit.
For sure. But right now, as things stand, Collin can't really attack. I mean, he could, but he loses a creature in the exchange. It's a big cost.
See, Collin's trying to figure out the best attacks now.
The problem here is also Gabriel has the option of trading with the Tiebinder Mage, so
everybody. It's an aggressive line, but he knows he doesn't want to sit back.
yeah.
And the opponent's at 11.
I feel like Gabriel has to get the Tiebinder Mage involved in combat here. He can't take that hit. So I think you're going to eat a creature and you're going to trade.
Yeah, like Raptor eats a mage.
Yeah.
And then the other mage maybe trades. I mean, I think it's important that you get the domestication off the board too.
Right.
For devotion purposes.
Also, make Collin reanimate the Mutavault. Make him spend mana that way.
Yeah.
So leave him with the Mutavault here and just get the 2 Tiebinders off the table.
I'm on the same page as you. We'll see if these players do choose to take that line.
Now, what's interesting about this is because of the Cyclonic Rift, Gabriel might be saying, okay, I'll take this hit. I want to get the Tiebinder back in my hand.
Sure. It's a hit for 7. Wilson goes to 4. There's a gainsay. Huh.
Yeah, I think at this point,
You can sacrifice that. I'm
yeah,
okay with that.
Gabriel just needs to cast the Gainsay on whatever.
Yeah.
Mana's the issue.
Little scry time. Now this is a situation where Judge Smither actually can counter the overloaded Cyclonic Rift because that's going to generate 4 mana. There's a Master. And that might be actually the card that gets the job done here. Because you do your devotion check. It's pretty healthy. At 5. Cloud from Raptor holds the air very nicely. Yeah, we can safely attack with this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. We could probably safely attack with 2, 3, 4. We could attack with Thassa too.
Yeah, I would have attacked with Thassa too. It's Collin still has dangerous draws here.
Because if he takes care of your Master Waves, your Thassa is off anyway. So
Right.
you might as well get that 5 damage in.
Another game where it looks like Gabriel may have turned it around.
After being on the back foot and having domestication resolve.
Now, if Gabriel last turn had the Master of Waves in hand already, I am fine with this line of play.
Ooh, boy. That's what we like to call a top deck in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Says take this. The Waves tokens all go away.
And this is the scenario you spoke of. You might as well hit with the Thassa.
Everybody's going to come in. You get to block a creature. Then it looks like 5 damage is going to come through. And this is why maybe the Tiebinder Mage attack was poor, and that's why we're going to head to a 3rd game. A timely top deck from Collin Rountree. But you play Domestication so you can draw it, and he's going to smile a little bit about that top deck.
It was a risk that maybe did not need to be taken there. The Thassa attack, for the reasons you mentioned, is free.
Yeah, I'm okay with the Thassa attack.
If Collin doesn't answer your board, he can't attack anyway. And if he does answer your board, your Thassa can't block anyway. So by that process, it's a freebie to have that attack.
Yeah. Game 3 is where we're headed between Rountree and Wilson. You see the sideboards on the screen. Don't think a lot is going to change here for either player. So we'll see who can get the job done in this 3rd and final one.
Domestication feels like the best 4.
Almost certainly.
Another nice thing about Jace the Living Guild Pact is you can bounce your creature that they've taken with Domestication. It's one of the better answers.
It's fun. Kind of like that. You know what else is fun? States.
States.
Are you a state champion?
Am I a state champion? No, I'm not.
Embarrassing.
Don't know have that on my resume.
It's embarrassing. Two-time. Two-time state champion. That's me. That's me right here.
Coming in autumn, we had Spring State's huge success this autumn, October 11th and 12th. Standard format, construct here still be pretty new. Over 50 locations between the United States and Puerto Rico. StarCityGames.com/states for more information. You can win a medal. Be called a state champ. This is good stuff.
Medals are sweet.
Yep.
I remember I used to wear a medal.
I remember when you used to wear your medal.
I don't know why, but it was kind of sweet, actually. I had to stand out from the crowd,
It's true.
and I found a way.
It is true. That was the first time that I encountered you.
It's
You
the first
were
time
in
a
that
lot of
medal.
people encountered me.
It
You
was
gotta give a nice first impression.
Grand Prix Columbus.
That's right, baby.
Mm-hmm.
2004.
Yep.
Top 4 competitor, Craig Krempels annihilated me.
Craig was very good.
My goodness. Promise of Power is an aptly named card. Holy God, he killed me with that thing.
Yeah. Craig's really good. Won a Legacy Open earlier this year.
Yeah.
Barely knows the cards.
Yeah, doesn't get to play very much anymore.
Barely
But
know.
here's the thing. When you have it, you have it.
Yep.
He's got the gift of game.
Got to play with him. A couple Team Pro Tours and Team Grand Prix.
And if you're going to lose in the finals of a Grand Prix, someone, Mike Turney's not a bad person to go out to.
No. not
That
at
was
all.
Mike's last Grand Prix.
Before retiring. His days of adventuring done, retiring to Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
Working R&D and organized play.
That was a great tournament back there. And states are great tournaments, too. We've already had spring states this year, autumn, October 11th and 12th. StarCityGames.com/states for more information. You see the playmat artwork on the screen. Winner of that gets a medal, as we mentioned, and a black and white artwork of that playmat. So we hope to see you guys there.
Plus Open Series points, if
Can't forget about that.
If you're on the grind or planning to get on the grind, another tournament where you can pick up some points, and I think that you'll see a lot of people like the Gerard Fabianos and Joe Lissettes of the world battling in their state championships for this very reason.
Got to get those points.
Got to get those points.
Game 3. Gabriel Wilson will be on the play. We'll see what happens here between these two blue decks.
There's some swingy games so far.
They really are. They're really back and forth. I remember when this deck debuted at Pro Tour Theros in Dublin, just watching those games in the back and forth. And the players hadn't really tested the mirror a ton, so they didn't really realize how swingy the games were going to be. And it really feels that these games are just as swingy as what I watched last year.
Yeah. I mean, game 1 from Gabriel was something else. In that game 2, Collin was out in front, then looked like he was way behind, then ripped Domestication and eked it out.
We'll see what happens in game 3. You can see when Collin mulliganed actually to 6, he was not thrilled with his hand, but he was able to get it done.
No, I mentioned this before when we had another mono blue mirror match. It's not really a mulliganing matchup. It's not about card count so much as do you have the right stuff and do you have it on time. So most of the time when someone dies, they're going to die with stuff left in their hand because the games are over so fast.
257 for our Legacy Open. That's where we'll be headed after this. And we had 151 for our Modern Premier IQ. So big
Great.
shout out to all the players who did come out to do battle.
Another good turnout. 9 rounds of Legacy.
Yes, sir. As usual.
I believe an 8-round Modern IQ.
Yep. We had 732 for our Standard Open, and after this game, there will just be one man standing. Either Gabriel Wilson or our #1 overall seed, Collin Rountree. Been one heck of a tournament for both of them.
For sure.
11 rounds of standard action yesterday, 3 today. Rountree has not lost a match yet. He doesn't look happy with his opening hand. We'll see if he decides to keep and maybe posturing. All right, that's not posturing.
Gabriel also does not look stoked.
He's going to ship it. Rountree's going to, I think he's going to keep it. Yeah, it looks like it. So Wilson will take a mulligan this go around. Malpo didn't put up great numbers at the Pro Tour.
No,
Didn't look like.
wasn't much of a player.
Yeah. A little bit surprised by that.
Yeah, especially with the amount of mono red that showed up.
Yeah, which looked to be a lot.
There's a lot. Revolution and Channel Fireball both had significant representation of mono red.
Yeah. And Joan Planeswalker's deck had some representation too. 2 of those in the top 8.
Yep.
Be fun to see what does watch that one.
The Rabble Master is really good, but not that good against Master of Waves.
Accurate. Accurate. depending on the results of that tournament, we could see more mono blue everywhere. I know we have a lot of it here, but it might be a nice foil to what did well at that tournament. As the pros do set the stage in Portland. Looks like Collin is happy. We're going to begin game number 3 here. It's an island. Pass the turn back. No turn 1 play for either player.
Looks like Collin kept a 2-lander.
Risky, risky. There's a Mutavault. Kick it back. No turn 2 play. A little bit risky to play that Mutavault there. I don't know if there's a Nightfell Spectre and another island in the hand, but by playing Mutavault on turn 2, you certainly turn yourself off from being able to cast that card.
Yeah.
There's an island. I think you got to play Thassa if you have it, so yeah, there's that. That's the big one.
Step 1.
Rountree. And I'm playing on his own. This is 3 mana. Spectre or Thassa? Thassa. 2. Wilson to 18. Good starts from both players. Better start for Rountree, though. Time to scry. Top to the bottom. Now here's a Tidebinder.
Looks like no land number 4.
I think that's an issue. Yep, it's a Tidebinder. Kick it back. Rountree will scry.
And this is the spot, I think, where Collin has one of his domestications.
It just needs the 4th land.
We may have our Open Series champion.
Yeah.
Feels like that swing is too much.
There's land number 4. Mutavault's an important one. That's a Spectre, so no domestication just yet. But Thassa's online. Now you have to decide how you want to attack. Do you want to send in the mage as well, I think is the question. This attack's pretty interesting to me just because if Wilson trades his mage for Collins, his devotion is so low.
Yeah, but it's you know, Gabriel gets to get, Collin rather gets to get in a shot for 5 no matter what. Probably can reassemble devotion next turn.
Yep.
And is happy keeping Gabriel's devotion count low as well.
So it's a good attack.
Yeah, this is kind of a win-win sort of attack for Collin. It's 2 free points or he's happy with the trade.
Yep. So 5 comes across. Wilson gonna take a look. Take a draw. See the domestication there. And he says, I'll take this, thank you. Thanks for the devotion, bro. In for 5, put you to 15. Time to scry. You see the domestication in Collin's hand. 4, ship it. In, put you to 8.
So this is one of those time-stamping things. The domestication does cause it to bounce back and forth.
Yep. And it did seem like he was setting that up all along.
Yeah.
Because he had domestication the previous turn. He could have cast on the Tidebinder Mage and attacked. He felt like he wanted to set that play up. Now Gabriel Wilson with basically no devotion, just 1. That's a Rift. All right. We're getting interesting here. Collin looking at a rapid hybridization. Deciding if he wants to cast that. Does he want to rapid the Nightfell Spectre? Make it so nobody gets anything. Except he'll be left with a 3/3.
Depends if he has any way to reassemble devotion. That's the
Yep.
concern. And if you're letting the Nightfell go back, you're potentially playing quite a bit into Gabriel's counters.
Yep. So here's this. Is there a gainsay? He says, just a second. I'm not quite sure I want to let that happen. Because there is a gainsay in Wilson's hand.
This would be a really good moment for a Dispel.
Be a great moment for this spell. There's gainsay. So now Rift's going to resolve. So this goes over there. And all this allows for is just a momentary attack for 5, because Domestication can come down again and take the Spectre.
Yeah, it forces Collin to spend his whole turn doing it, but
So I actually like the use of the Rapid Hybridization in that situation.
it's another good spot for Collin where if it happens, great, and if it doesn't happen, also fine.
Yep,
Same thing as the attack.
because I would like to take this back. Attack for 5, puts you to 3. Gonna pass the turn back, he's 1 turn away.
Gabriel needs a
listens to his
lot of
stride.
help.
Yeah. That one is gonna go to the bottom. Draw a card, it's Rapid Hybridization. It's not quite over yet. Looks like he's gonna maybe attack with Mutavault here. I guess that doesn't make for a good attack. There's 2-3 in the way.
Well, he can animate Mutavault.
Gonna rapid this right away. All those domestications are gonna go to the bin. Collin's one's gonna get a 3-3. Now there's a master. That'll be for 2.
I mean,
However,
this just leaves him
it's
dead on.
DOB, yeah.
Yep.
He's going to kill that, and yeah, he can just make the Frog Lizard unblockable. So as long as Collin Rountree does see that, and we'll see here in just a second. So he does scry, he does draw. Island, Mutavault, unblockable, unblockable. That's going to do it. Collin Rountree is your standard open champion here in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas.
Beating a bunch of mirror matches along the way there. I think in that spot, if Gabriel waits until combat to Rapid Hybridization the Night Veil Spectre,
Yep.
depending on what Collin does with his turn, there's a chance he catches back up there.
It's a chance. You know, it's not great. Both players have Thassus, so both players are scrying, but maybe you can outdraw your opponent in that situation.
Yeah, if you get to a Cyclonic Rift, if you get to your Jace, maybe you can kind of get back into the game. But as it stands, Collin Rountree, his build was great for this tournament. I mean, he ran into so much mirror match here, you know, in the semis and the finals here, and his build is very well suited to win the mirror.